Hi guys, welcome to the Maniacs.
Hello guys, how you doing?
Me and James are going to quickly go through a Warzone rulebook review. Well, mainly James, because he's really the only one that's read it proper. We're just going to have these nice little things on display here, just to rub it in James's face, because he's still waiting for his stuff.
I know, my mission. No.
Right, so let's go through the rulebook.
Alright, so this is the lovely rulebook. We managed to get it when we was demo gaming down at Element Games in Stockport with Rob himself.
Mr. Prodas Man.
Mr. Prodas Man. The artwork on it is just awesome. Doesn't notice, it's definitely catches your eye, gets you in. It only comes in hardback. There is no softback version for those people who don't like hardback, but I think because of the size and density of it, it really does need that hardback just to
I prefer hardback personally.
To keep it solid. So a general review of the book. I'll just show you. It's got quite a lot of fluff. Not as much as most books, but it definitely does build upon it. Something to keep in mind that this is Warzone Resurection. So back in the early 90s was the original Warzone game. So this is well, not exactly a remake. Would you call it a remake?
Well, it's resurrected, isn't it?
Yeah, it's yeah, hence the name. So there's still elements of the original game in which most people like if you're a fan of the old games, and it just brings some new elements in. So fluff-wise, I think you've got at least a decent 25 pages of fluff just from the start of the book. So that's your starter fluff. From what I've read to what I've read online as well, there's more fluff to this than the original Mutant Chronicles. So if you definitely were into it, it'll be able to expand upon your previous knowledge of the game, and then you get into your general rules. There's two ways about this game. There's general rules and there's advanced rules. Advanced rules are only for the cards, so it's not like, oh my god, there's an advanced version of this game, I have to take more time reading it. I was kind of worrying about reading the advanced rules, but it's only about 3 pages tops, and it's just about the cards, and that's pretty much it. So the rules will last you, so I'd say that's another 50 pages, which is standard rulebook of any size. So it's not like a massive feat of a task to read it if you're used to reading rulebooks. And plus, if you're used to war games, it's just general. You just have to skim the bits, you know.
It's about 80 pages, though.
Yeah, general size. And then it also has the
forces.
The forces in it. Of all the factions apart from Imperials. This is where you get to the forces section.
Yeah, boy!
Which covers pretty much the rest of the rulebook. The only faction that isn't in it is the Imperials. That's because the rules weren't made in time for Kickstarter. But it is free downloadable on the website. It's also for rulebook as well. So it's not like something you must buy. But if you're a bit stingy like us, it's always easier to read from a book than it is to read online.
All the links for that will be in the description down below. So I'll link you to the Imperials and the rulebook so you can have a look for yourselves.
So yeah,
there will actually be a book coming out for the Imperials. I think Rob said late September time.
Yeah, a lot of releases will come out in September.
So don't take my word for it, and if I'm wrong, blame Mr. Prodas Man.
Blame Mr. Prodas Man, yeah. As you like to call him now. So yeah, so it's just a general layout of the rulebook. That's pretty much what you get in it. The artwork is absolutely amazing. It does actually have some artwork from back in the original Warzone, so it still touches upon the original game, guess you can call it a bit retro. Some retro artwork in it, as obviously new artwork, and overall I was just impressed by it. It's, you know, considering it was kickstarted as well and short space of time, they've really done a thorough job with it.
Made an absolute bucket ton of money on Kickstarter.
Definitely did. Unfortunately, because it was kickstarted, there are actually no pictures of the models in the actual book, but that's understandable because it was kickstarted and the models weren't released.
Yeah, that's really the only, because I know it's a bad example because it's Games Workshop, but look at some of their books. They have the models there and they actually make you think, oh, can't wait for them to come out and stuff like that. That's the only downside really, because I was yesterday looking at a Brotherhood unit that one of my generals can take, or what they call warlords can take, and there's no, I can't find any real pictures of them. So it's a bit, but it's understandable because it was kickstarted. So I'd rather they.
Steve's just mesmerised.
Yeah, there's a load of weapons there. Yeah, I totally can understand where they've come from, and actually, I'd rather them do that rather than take forever for it to come out and then have everything there. So I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah. Fortunately, but there's no models, but what it does have, if you're fluff-wise or just like aesthetics, as I think it's just 2 spread of armories from each faction. I think.
What we'll do, we'll bring the camera over here so you guys can have a look at it.
As I was saying before, more in-depth look actually looking at the book. This is the armory section. So this is just, well, fluff, aesthetics, or even a painting guide essentially, you know, how the weapons are visualised to look like. Has all the factions, but once again apart from Imperials, because they mess with deadline, but I'm sure they'll probably have an army section in their book when it comes out. So this is one of the best examples from the rulebook that takes everyone's eyes. It's just something nice just to glance at. Kind of makes the model seem more alive and you can try and visualise them better. And then, just going through examples. So, this is what you get with all your lords and all your units. You'll have a page of fluff about them. Then you'll have their stat lines, weapon stat lines, sort of ranged, and then you have all their traits and active and passive effects on them. So that's just a random example from Dark Legion. Then Inquisitor from Brotherhood. I can see that it's quite like an in-depth fluff because normally with most books you normally get like a short paragraph, but this is at least, you know, decent half a page worth. Just fills out the book a little bit more. So we've got some Cybertronic. You know, each faction will also have, I'll show you, at least a good 4 pages of fluff beforehand, all the units. So even though you've only got like a short 30 pages or 20 pages of fluff, then you got the in-depth fluff of each faction as you go along. It's more about the origins of each faction rather than like in War Machine you have like a continuation of a story. Then you have Bauhaus, and I think that's that. And then just go through, so this is scenario pages. There are 3 types of scenarios in this game, which makes it a bit more interesting. You have your priority mission, your secondary, and your corporate agenda. Which ones you play are determined by a roll of d20, and then it decides how you play your game. So primary is what you both work towards, and your secondary and corporate agenda are both secret to the individual players. So as you're both playing towards a priority mission, you've also got secret ones that your opponent doesn't know about to play. So at the end of the game it kind of makes it more interesting because you don't really know what your opponent's doing and why. And then obviously at the end, even if you win priority mission, doesn't really mean you win, because if your opponent wins by points of their secondary and corporate agenda, you cannot win the game. So then your snare deployments, and these are all your settings for the game and how you play. So for example, silver is what you must take, and the golden are extras, but you can't go over those limits. That's the standard, and that's what we'll start playing, and then eventually me and Steve will move on to this one. I don't think we'll ever get to that big.
Yeah, we will.
That's when you spend like 20 grand on your army. These are just general rules now, so just talking about vehicles. You get nice little pictures just to help you along. Something that this book does have, if I can find one, it has flowcharts. Let me just find one for you, which goes through every single step and it helps you understand, like this one. So this is the close combat section. So this is, it has it for most general sections for shooting, this one's for close combat. I think you have a turn, how a turn should play out. So it's what you do is you just follow each step as it goes, and then obviously options if things failed or yes or no, and then you just keep resuming until you've reached the end. So it makes it kind of more easier, so it just sums it up and it's a quick reference if you just forget something. Rather than having to read tons of rules, you just have this quick flow chart which you can just quickly reference to. Just going about how you use your templates, some original retro, original retro artwork. Another flowchart once again. Another one to see how the game tone works. And that is pretty much. There you go, you have the army section. See, there's quite a few of them actually. You'll find as you read the book. You don't really need to read them if you already know the rules, you're pretty confident on them, but it's just if you're beginners or if you just forget something, like it is just rather than reading rules, just a quick reference section. Definitions of traits. And then you get weird little random pages of fluff, but who doesn't love a bit of fluff? And then yeah, that's the general rules section from
the Chronicle.
Reverse. So this is just fluff now.
More fluff.
For those of you more to Warzone, the most simplest overview I can put you on is Earth got divided into major corporations. Normally each one represents a certain country. E.g. Imperials represent Britain, Bauhaus for Germany, Mishima, China, etc. Brotherhood are just religious fanatics, as you do every game should have a religious fanatic faction. And as all of these corporations build up and they fight over territory, they expand it into the universe, you know, more resources, more weapons, just being greedy. And within all this greed of all these corporations, this seal, it tracks Dark Legion, which are just like demons and chaos from another dimension to pour through, to kind of like punish them, if you will. So that's how that faction got through, and then yeah, all hell broke loose. And that's pretty much the stage we're at the minute.
Damn.
So, as the choices, you either play Dark Legion and you aid the forces of darkness, or you can pick a human faction to counterbalance that.
Yeah.
The choice is yours.
All this book is missing some nice human Imperial.
Some nice human appearance. And that is a general oversection of the rulebook.